The main peak where Yunheizong is located is surrounded by the 8 Pillars Tongtian Mountain Peak, and it is also connected to the 8 Pillars Tongtian Mountain Peak. The disciples of Yunheizong can go to these Tongtian Mountain peaks to find the heavenly blessed land and concentrate on their cultivation. It is very easy to find a quiet place to practice. At this moment, on a cliff, there is a wide place suspended in the air. Looking down from the cliff is a vast sea of clouds, which is refreshing. However, Lin Feng was not in the mood to appreciate it. He was sweating profusely, and he kept repeating in action, drawing his sword. Ka Peng! Another explosion sounded, the rocks at the cliff exploded, and a slender hole was embedded in the cliff, which was the sword mark. Lin Feng has been practicing hard here for 7 days. Sword drawing only pursues 2 things: speed, extreme speed, and power. Unparalleled power erupts at the moment when the sword is drawn. As for the trajectory angle of the sword, you can do whatever you want. There is only one sword. To be able to avoid being seen through, to draw a sword is a swordsmanship that does not pay attention to swordsmanship. Lin Feng ignored the sweat all over his body and continued to draw his sword repeatedly. The improvement of strength is not a matter of day and night. Only with perseverance and incomparable tenacity can he become a martial arts powerhouse. Although this world is full of passion and blood, it is also full of crises. If you are not strong, you may be killed, just like Lin Hung before. After a long time, the dark shadow behind Lin Feng gradually became dim, and his spirit was a little dazed. Only then did he stop drawing his sword and put away his martial soul. Martial spirit is the soul of a warrior, and using it all the time consumes a lot of energy. Inserting the soft sword into the scabbard of the monster's skin studded with gems at his waist, Lin Feng's figure flickered like a glimpse of light, and he began to practice martial arts skills again. The morning sun gradually turned into the setting sun. Lin Feng leaned on the cliff and looked at the rolling sea of clouds in front of him with a bright smile on his face. Holding the sword of setting sun and blood, and the sword of cold moon and bright frost in my heart, I can see the top of the mountain. The mountains are small. It's time to find a cave for cultivation. Lin Feng rested for a while, then got up and walked towards the mountains. It didn't take long for Lin Feng to see a few cave dwellings, but they were all occupied by people. At this moment, Lin Feng came to a mountain stream and looked along the mountain stream. Lin Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. One line of sky. There was a peak in front of it, and then the middle of the peak seemed to be split by a sword, and there was a narrow road in the middle that could accommodate 2 people. From a distance, it looked like a line of sky. I don't know what's in it. Lin Feng's heart moved slightly, and he walked towards the sky. In the distance, 2 disciples from the outer sect saw Lin Feng walking into Yixianshan, and they couldn't help but chuckle. This waste is unlucky. Who in this neighborhood didn't know that this was junior sister Lu Fei's territory, and he dared to enter? Lu Fei's strength is much stronger than ours. She ranks among the top disciples of the outer section. You should be called senior sister. While the 2 were whispering to each other, Lin Feng had already walked into the sky that was several hundred meters long. Suddenly, the light in front of him suddenly became clear. There was a cave in the sky, it was extremely open, and there was a huge lake on the left. It is a natural hot spring. It's really a good place, just in time to take a shower. The clothes on his body were stuck with sweat, and Lin Feng felt very uncomfortable. He took off the clothes on his upper body, and Lin Feng jumped directly into the natural hot spring. Comfortable. Lin Feng said, intoxicated, but at this moment, a clattering sound came out. On the other side of the hot spring lake, the soft black silk was suddenly thrown out of the lake, and then Lin Feng saw a beautiful face. This is a girl of 15 or 16 years old, with willow leaf eyebrows and melon-seeded face. She is extremely delicate and beautiful, and because of her cultivation, people in this world have excellent skin and do not need makeup at all. She is completely natural beauty. However, this girl's eyes were not very friendly, and flames spewed out of her angry eyes. Lu Fei closed her breath in the water to cultivate and strengthen her inner breath. She never thought that there would be a sect disciple who was so unbearable, and came to her to take a bath every day, shirtless. The place. Sorry, I didn't know anyone here. Lin Feng smiled apologetically, then got up and left. He still recognized Lu Fei, the first beauty in the outer sect. But Lu Fei's face didn't look much better. I don't know. The Yanheizong disciples who practiced in this mountain range, who did not know that Yixiantian was where she practiced, this thief must have deliberately underestimated her. Lin Feng really didn't know that there were people here. The former waste Lin Feng was cowardly by nature and had never come to the mountain range to practice. Although Lu Fei was born very beautiful, Lin Feng only had a momentary ripple in his heart. He didn't have too many other thoughts. He got dressed and left quickly. You still want to go? Just when Lin Feng was about to walk out of the sky, an indifferent voice came. Turning around Lin Feng, he saw Lu Fei holding a bow and arrow in both hands, and the target was him. What do you want? Lin Feng frowned. He didn't seem to have made any frivolous actions. It was just a misunderstanding, and he had apologized. Without answering, Lu Fei's enchanting body bent into the shape of a bow, and the arrows and bows were drawn. The sound of screaming came out, and the golden arrows burst out of the air and stabbed Lin Feng directly. It's so strong. Lin Feng's eyes trembled slightly. Without any hesitation, the 9 waves roared out, and the bow and arrow shot by Jianxiu was extremely powerful. When this arrow was shot, there was a buzzing sound in the space. The arrow arrived in an instant, and the 9 waves of waves bombarded the arrow. The arrow actually persisted for a while in the tyrannical wave before falling to the ground. You want to kill me? Lin Feng's voice was full of anger. This arrow had a power of 7,000 pounds. If it was the previous Lin Feng, he would have already lied down. So what? Another arrow was placed on the string, and an illusory arrow, a golden arrow, suddenly appeared behind Lu Fei. Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he felt a coldness spread over his body. The illusory arrow pointed at him, locking his breath. Arrow Martial Soul can lock breath attack. This is the unique ability of Martial Soul. OM. The bowstring trembled and arrived in an instant. Flickering light, 9 waves. Lin Feng's body retreated 10 meters, and a violet wave spewed out, bombarding the arrows that were shot, but this time only slowed down the speed of the arrows, and the buzzing sound made people feel heart palpitations. Yu reading www.yuyukanshu.com stabbed Lin Feng in the forehead. Lu Fei was originally an outstanding existence among the disciples of the outer section, a martial cultivator of the 9th level of Qi martial arts. When using the arrow martial arts to shoot an arrow, the strength of this arrow is definitely more than 9,000 pounds, so even if Lin Feng uses the 9-level wave, he still cannot block. Lin Feng's body fell abruptly on his back, but the arrow was controlled by the martial spirit. As if it had life, it turned down and continued to assassinate Lin Feng. Surprise? Lin Feng shouted loudly, and the dazzling white brilliance disappeared in a flash, and then disappeared in an instant. Lin Feng, wrote down what happened today. A voice came out from a distance, causing Lu Fei to be stunned, only to see that the arrow she shot was split in 2, and Lin Feng's figure had disappeared into the sky, and the speed was extremely fast. Is that a sword light? Lu Fei murmured, and then chased out a thin line of sky. Not far from Yixiantian, the two who were waiting to watch the excitement couldn't help but stunned when they saw Lin Feng escaped. Lu Fei didn't leave that trash behind? Maybe junior sister Lu Fei didn't want to care about him. But at this moment, they saw Lu Fei, whose clothes were clinging to her body, stepped out of the sky, and the graceful ketone body was full of endless charm, which made them both swallow their saliva, but they closed it tightly. Mouth only dared to show a head to peep outside. Enjoy this rare scenery. You must know that Lu Fei is not only powerful, but also has many suitors in Yanheizong. Among these suitors, there are even very powerful inner disciples and even core disciples. This is not something they can afford if they are known to them. Seeing Lu Fei's sexy body, they will definitely die ugly.